All right, I usually start with a canvas that I have prepared. And by preparing, I mean that I have gessoed it, and I have also put a layer of acrylic paint on it. Now, acrylic paint, you cannot put over top of oil, but you can put oil painting over top of acrylic painting. So, what I'm going to do, I've already got the acrylic on there because we often do our boards, several boards in advance, and usually all different sizes. All right, first off, I am going to just block in the scene that I want to do. Right now, all I'm doing is looking for a brush that will work. Oops, I dropped my brush. Okay, now, I suggest that you dip your brush into some mineral spirits, odorless preferably, before you put any oil painting on your brush. But anyways, here I'm going to put a little bit of stuff called liquid, and it's a medium. And what it does is it helps you to move your paint around and make a little bit of it go a lot farther. So, I am going to block in first, or sketch in first, maybe I should say. And what it is I do have a hill here, and I do have an opening to the ocean, and I have a ridge over on this side. Now, you don't have to do it smoothly or straight or anything like that, because no land, in fact, what I'll do is I'll put some crevices in here or some hills so that it won't be totally flat. All right, a little touch up there. Okay, now I'm going to put the base of this land. And this will be our farthest point of interest. Everything is going to be in the foreground. And I'm going to try and paint a sailboat in motion that's tipped, not all the way over, but far enough that you can see the keel. Okay, so we got our land here. By slanting these lines at the bottom, you indicate that this is a bay and not an ocean. Ocean would be like way out here. Okay, so then we got that part done. Now, I'm also going to block in the sailboat at this point. Maybe not all of it, but definitely the boat part. Because I have a lot of water here that I need to paint in, and I don't want to try and paint this stuff here over top of it. Quite often I do it, but today I'm not willing to gamble. So I'm just going to use yellow ochre because it's a very forgiving color. It's not that hard to hide under another coat of paint or a different coat of paint. Now, because this sailboat, they're not always very big, but I am going to paint mine a little bigger. All right, see, I made a small mistake because I'm starting with my boat too high. And this is how I paint all the time. I never, ever get anything in the right place the first time. Okay, I'm going to try here. Now, I have my little sketch that I made, because that's what you have, what people call reference material. And almost everything that I paint, because it's new, and in fact, me attempting this is new for me. So, which is why I'm sketching it. And this has to be rounder. But you see what I'm saying? You can paint is very, very forgiving. Very forgiving. Now I'm going to have my mast about there, but I'm not going to do anything more with it. I'm also going to have the bottom of this, what the sail is attached to there, just so that I can keep things kind of in some kind of perspective. Now this little stuff here, there's so many ways you can change or correct. There's no such thing as a mistake. There's no such thing as a wrecked painting. There isn't anything that you can do to hurt it. I'm actually just washing off with the mineral spirits the extra lines that I don't need, and so that I don't get confused. Okay. Now I think, or I feel anyways, that I have a good enough shape for my boat. All right. I'm also going to put in here, I believe it's like a blade that helps you steer. In this case though, because the boat's almost on its side, this little thing here, and I don't have to make any details, I just need to put it there so that I know. In fact, I don't know a whole lot because already I got this going in the wrong direction. So I wiped it off. And I'm going to put it over here so it looks like it's out of the water. Okay. Now we got that blocked in so that I know kind of where I'm going. Now, yes, I have a person, a body, that I need to put in there. So it sort of tells the story of how she's struggling to keep this boat sailboat from tipping right over and laying on its side. All right. Oh, also on the bottom here of the distant hills, there's a beach. And between this and this is quite sharp, between the hill and the beach. So the idea when you're painting, paint in the way something actually looks. All right, I've sketched what I need to sketch. And as you can see, it is not a lot of detail. And now I will start at the top of my canvas and I will work my way forward. I call this blocking, and it is a sort of blocking. Now though, I'm going to block with basic color. And that's not the color that it will stay. All right then. So now I'm going to get a real big brush. Biggest brush that I think that I actually do have, or darn close. Okay, dampen my brush with some mineral spirits. And now I'm going to go to blue. I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo blue. And phthalo blue is a very dense color. So I need then a lot of white and only a little bit of blue. Well, I've dragged some blue down to here so I can, down to the bottom part of my palette, so that I can mix it away from my blob of paint, because there's no sense messing it all up. And also, I'm just going to put it at the bottom of the streak here that I made, because I want a fairly light color, because, or at least I need to end up light near the horizon, always. Skies are done from dark at the top to light at the horizon. All right, so I'm going to do just that. I'm going to paint very quickly. I am going to paint in, or block in, the sky. Now you probably can hardly see it, but you know what? I usually start with the dark color and then try to make it light. And it takes a lot of mixing that way. So I've mixed a whole bunch of light blue, and I'm painting on top of blue, so you probably can't see it. But you will in a minute. In fact, I'm going to go right down to here. Okay, sky. you can paint your sky almost any direction you want. All right, now I am going to slightly add a little more blue as I go up here. Now I don't know if you can see the difference yet. You probably can't see the first coat. I'm hoping you will be able to sort of see this second layer that I'm putting on. And really what I'm doing is changing that light color into a little darker color by adding a little more primary color, which is blue in this case. Oopsie. I got a white streak there, which I didn't want. Okay, now I need a little more blue still, because I am getting up to where it is darker. And I have not a very big sky, because I didn't want to have to worry about things like clouds in this case, at least not, not little wind clouds, yes, but not necessarily rain clouds. It's definitely not going to be a rainy day, because if it was going to be a rainy day, this poor lady might be stuck out here in the water with no rescue available. Okay. Now they say that the ideal situation or way to paint is to tell a story. Well, I'm not sure I always understood that, but I think it's something maybe that I just try to do automatically. So now I'm putting some more blue because you can't see it, and you need to be able to see something. Okay, and I might add some more of that light blue and thin it out, because that's the only way. If you add a little bit of white to any color that you've mixed, you'll have a better idea of whether you actually accomplished what you were trying to do, like find a new color. In fact, now I got too much red in there, but that's okay. I'll just keep adding some blue. And what I mix, I might as well use it all up anyways. Okay. Oh, no, I'm going for some more blue. Straight color this time. Okay, I think that's gonna work much nicer. And if it's too dark, it's no big deal. Just add a little white to the canvas after you've done the purple. Okay. All right, so I'm getting a little more medium here because I have fairly long stretches of land here. Now you don't have to, I'm trying to cover the yellow. It's not that big a chore, but if you wonder why it takes me so long to put the paint on, that's why. Okay, now that's a little dark. So I'm just gonna grab some white and a little bit of that medium, and I'm just gonna put it on the headline here, headland, I should say. See, just a little bit of white, and it lightens. Now though, for the next other side, I'm gonna just add more white to start with. Sometimes it takes a little longer to make it a little lighter. It's okay. This is your relaxing time. You can make it a hobby, you can make it a career, you can make it whatever you think you want to do with it. And depending when you start. A lot of people, not all artists, but a lot of people who want to paint don't necessarily want anything other than just a nice hobby, which is what I did. I didn't start right away. I waited till my family was fully grown, and I have 2 kids, and to me they came before the painting came. And probably my work came before the painting come too, because I've had 2 children to support. Okay, Now, there's a little bit of yellow ochre showing, but that's not all bad, because that is like a glare. I haven't decided yet where my light is coming from, and I better decide pretty fast. Well, I'm not getting any clues yet, so we'll just keep going. Okay, now I'm going to use another color, and I'm not even going to clean my brush because nothing was very dark, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to add that beach. And originally I thought I might put a house up there on the hillside, but I decided that only if we have time will that happen. So now, actually, I have all this beautiful purple, and I'm just going to put it in here. And I will start later. Oh yeah. This is when I like to paint, is when I can just go to town. Oops. I need medium, not cleaner. Although you can use your mineral spirits as the thinner as well. The only problem is that it will thin it like a lot. And sometimes you want it thinned, just not that often. So I'm going to put all this, I'm going to use up all my purple. I'll be sorry later because I'll probably want some for shadows, but in the meantime, okay, water has to be horizontal. If it's a river, it has to be painted horizontal. If it's a pond, it still needs to be horizontal. And part of it is, the reason for that is, especially if you want to have anything growing in the water or beside the water, then all you have to do is just use some brush strokes going horizontal and then pull it down into the water to whatever length you want. Oh, I just thought of another reason why I decided not to, brother. Why I decided I wasn't going to paint all the water first. I can paint all the water in the front because there's nothing going in there except more colors. And that's another reason why we've decided, or I've decided, that we're going to paint, finish the painting in two episodes. Because, yeah, I can block it in, but you know what? It's really hard, and yet a lot of people can do it, but it's really quite hard to paint over wet paint, unless it's just for little dabs. But if you have to draw something over top of it with paint or whatever, like the mast, I mean, I think I can do it. I probably messed up my sail, but you know, again, everything can be fixed. All right, I've just scraped the barrel here. I run out of all that nice, pretty purple. Love purple. Put it wherever I can. All right, so now I have a nice thin brush here, and I'm going to paint the mast white, because even if it was aluminum, by the time I put a highlight on and a shadow on there, it's going to look like aluminum or steel or I'm just assuming that it's aluminum, but I didn't really research it that far. But I like to think about some of that stuff, just because anybody that is looking at the painting when it's done, if they know anything about, for instance, sailboats, then they're going to know whether it's right or it's wrong. And I don't want to be real ignorant by broadcasting that I didn't do more research, but this is my piece. This is my work, not a shipbuilder's work. So you can see now I'm painting this mast. Can't maybe see too good, but what I'll do right away is I will put some shadow on there. And now for sure I have to decide which way my light is coming from. And you know what? I think I'm going to have it come from the right side. I don't use backlit very often because I guess maybe I'm just not comfortable with it, or maybe because to me it doesn't always look natural. So yeah, so I'm going to have it come from the right, and then that way what'll happen is I can get a little bit of blue, which I probably don't really want in the long run, but it's okay because I just want to show you what a shadow would look like on the mast. See, I have a problem here now. I need to make this blue go on a lot smoother. Well, maybe it's not going to do it. All right. I'm going to try something different then. That won't hold enough paint, or not as much paint as I want. So I'm just going to use a bigger brush and use it on the skinny side. Whereas when I go to paint the boat, I'll use the flat side. But this part here, now I don't want to stop right at the shoreline. So I'm just going to extend it a bit. I think I might as well put in my sail. Now I'm not going to attach it to the mast yet, because I believe that it has to be on rings in order for it to be rolled up and rolled down, and same thing, it has to be attached to a rope or a tie of some kind, and there has to be a loop at the end of that. Also, now this is what I really call detail, but it's not really. Again, what I'm actually trying to do is just block it in so I don't forget. Now this here is where that, and if you want to put a ring on anything, you just about have to have an arch or I'd say an upside down arch, let's just say, that goes around that. It's probably metal, and it has a few other parts which you wouldn't be able to see anyways. And yeah. So I think that's good enough for that part now. I will paint the boat red, and when it's dried, and in the next episode, I will put on the white. Okay, nice pretty red. I don't want it to go all the way. I just want to do the top part. Go figure. Okay, so I'll get a little moogity. We jokingly call it moogity because it seems like whatever you call it the first time is what you end up calling it all the time. Right or wrong. But I don't usually do, I demonstrate, but that doesn't mean when I'm demonstrating that I'm actually teaching. And really, I don't want to make this hard, because you know what? It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to experiment. In fact, I would have to say that the experimenting part is my favorite part. And I very rarely paint the same painting. I won't say never, but rarely will I paint the same painting twice. Well, it looks like we've done as much as we can for this episode. So I would like to have been a little farther, but you know what? We will do the details and some more color in our next episode.